Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I want to give a great shout out and thanks to my first subscriber, Kelby Carey. I'm so very sorry about what has happened to your daughter. I don't know what's going on in our country. I don't know what's going on. There's been a breakdown somewhere in the care for IDD clients. I'm the mother of a 40-year-old son who last summer's day activity group decided to announce on Facebook they're going to start going to strip clubs monthly with the clients. I was not impressed. So my aim is to put a stop to it. I want proper care for my son after I die. And this is the way I know to do it. So I found out just either right before I went to sleep last night or when I woke up that the IDD community has also been targeted in Minnesota by the Somalis. So I did some research and I had ChatGPT make me up a script for you. Today we need to talk about something serious, and it goes far beyond paperwork or money. In December 2025, federal and state authorities intensified what prosecutors are calling industrial-scale Medicaid fraud in Minnesota. There were FBI raids, criminal charges, people fleeing the country, and at the center of this are programs that serve adult and children with intellectual and developmental disabilities, known as IDD clients. These are the very systems that are supposed to protect people who cannot always protect themselves. FBI raids Ultimate Home Health Services. On December 18, 2025, the FBI raided Ultimate Home Health Services in Bloomington, Minnesota. According to investigators, the company allegedly billed Medicaid for 12 hours a day of care for a man who was already dead, and continued billing after his death. Submitted over $1.1 million in claims for just 13 clients between June 2024 and August 2025. 13 clients over $1 million, and one of them wasn't even alive. For anyone familiar with IDD services, that number of hours immediately raises red flags. Many adults with developmental disabilities receive daily supervision, attendant care, and safety supports, which means providers control the paperwork, the reporting, and the billing. When oversights fail, clients become billing units instead of human beings, and I believe that's what's happening here. Billing units that they can go out for their own little sick pleasures. That's what I think. Who do you think's getting more out of the strip club, the clients or the employees? Okay, integrated community supports. And that's what I do for my son. I go through a place of community supports. This case is tied to the Integrated Community Supports Program, or ICS, a Medicaid program that serves people with disabilities, including those living in group homes or supported housing. Here's what happened. In 2021, the program cost about $4.6 million. By 2025, cost exploded to nearly $180 million. That kind of growth without tight oversight is a perfect setup for fraud, especially in IDD waiver services where billing is often based on the hours of supervision rather than the measurable outcomes. And I'd like to add something. For our hours, for my son, we meet with the caseworker every year and we go over a whole list of things he can do and things he can't do, and then they work out how many hours that he gets. Why were the people doing those forms giving these people so many hours? And did they ever actually lay eyes on anybody? I'm going to go ahead and say no. They're all in their high, mighty jobs where they get paid lots of money to look like the perfect citizen caring for the disabled, the developmentally disabled, and they're all nothing but a bunch of shysters and frauds. That's how I feel about it. Why IDD group homes are especially vulnerable. This is an important point that often gets left out. Many of these Medicaid programs serve IDD group homes and waiver recipients, people who retire entirely on staff for daily care, may not be able to report neglect, abuse, or fraud, often have limited family oversight, Well, even if they do have family oversight, they just tell the family, you're not his guardian. You have no right to speak up. People cannot verify whether services billed in their name actually happened. When fraud happens in these settings, it's not just stealing money, it's stealing safety, dignity, and trust from some of the most vulnerable people in our communities. Housing stabilization services. Another program heavily impacted is housing stabilization services, which is often used alongside IDD housing supports. Here are just a few cases. Pristine Health, LLC, owners charged with wire fraud, about $750,000 in false claims. Medicaid money allegedly spent on international travel to Dubai, London, and Sydney. Safe Lodgings, Inc., allegedly defrauded Medicaid of $1.4 million, used the funds for cryptocurrency. Owner fled to Amsterdam after being subpoenaed. And then the prosecutors described something called fraud tourism. 2 men from Philadelphia allegedly heard Minnesota's program was a good opportunity to make money and submitted $3.5 million in fake housing claims for service that never existed. These programs were meant to stabilize housing for vulnerable people, including adults with disabilities, not fund luxury lifestyles of pirates that are not even from our country, putting them in care of our most vulnerable citizens. And nobody even raising an eyebrow for years. Autism services, IDD services. Now let's talk about autism services because this is also IDD care. Under the EIDBI program, prosecutors allege Smart Therapy LLC, owner pleaded guilty in December 2025, $14 million in fake autism therapy claims. Star Autism Center LLC allegedly paid kickbacks to families, recruited children for diagnoses, and collected over $6 million in reimbursements. This means children with developmental disabilities were allegedly used as vehicles for billing, not patients receiving care. That's not just fraud, that's exploitation. And you know what? The truly disabled community is being completely erased by these new TikTok autistics, that it's not a disability. They've all been brainwashed. Their parents, too. The scale of the crisis. Federal prosecutors now estimate that $9 billion or more may have been lost. That's roughly half of the $18 billion spent across 14 high-risk Medicaid programs since 2018. In response, Governor Tim Walz ordered audits, appointed a new fraud prevention lead. That's a good idea. And I think they should all be out of there. There should be all new people in these government programs, from top to bottom. Maybe the bottom ones can be retrained. Obviously, they'll do whatever they're told. Just train them the proper way to do things. Investigations are expected to continue into 2026. But audits don't undo harm already done to the IDD clients living in group homes right now. How the FBI uncovered the fraud. So how did this get exposed? Investigators used data analytics flagging impossible billing patterns, claims submitted after client's death, extremely high hours billed for very small client list. That's what I don't understand. I only get so many hours a month. I can't just say, oh, I'd like another 300 hours, please. It doesn't work like that. Cross-checks with death records, whistleblowers, and state agency referrals. This wasn't one mistake. It was a pattern, and vulnerable IDD clients were caught in the middle. Whistleblowers. I'm a whistleblower. Closing. This isn't about politics. It's not about paperwork. And honestly, to me, it's not even about money. It's like, where's the care and the concern for the vulnerable people in our society? The mentally ill ones are out living in the streets, and you got your developmentally disabled being taken care of by criminals. It's about people with disabilities who trusted systems meant to protect them and systems that failed. It's about people with disabilities who, oh. When Medicaid fraud happens in the IDD group homes, the damage goes far beyond dollars. It erodes safety, dignity, and accountability for people who already face enormous barriers. If you believe that matters, share this video. These stories don't change unless people keep speaking. And I plan to speak until my dying day until this is changed, and I'm assured that this will not happen again. So, yeah. This is big. This is huge. My representative went to Washington, D.C. Before Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, and talking about our Venezuelan one up in Lake Oswego, and also with my case of the strip club incident. So I don't think I've read the letter that he wrote to Dr. Oz, but I'm going to read that soon. This thing is so big. There's so many things I can make videos about. I'm trying to make them about the most important thing at the moment to get more eyes on this issue. Because the disabled, now I don't know about the people that can't walk, the people in wheelchairs and blind, those people. My voice is for the IDD community, the developmentally disabled, because I do not want to see my son hurt, and I do not want to see any of these other clients hurt. I put in a lot of work to raise my son and keep him nice and safe, and for them to all think they can just throw it away because they have the job and they're paid the big money, I beg to differ. It's not going to happen on my watch. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my new subscriber, my first subscriber. You will always live in my heart. What a nice surprise that was. And the beautiful comment. Well, beautiful. And what happened to your daughter? It's just a shame. We'll get it changed. We'll get it changed. I'm sure that other special needs parents like me that have been in the game for 40 years, you have to bite your lip a lot, doctors, insurance, pharmacies, yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. Well, I finally found something that I can speak out about, and I don't really care what they think, because my son is in danger if I do not speak out. That's how I feel.